I'm Matt.
I'm Steve.
And welcome to Puck Talk CS Episode 2.
Episode 33 of Puck Talk CS. I'm Chives alongside Steve here at Puck Talk.
Hello, everyone.
Steve on episode 68 of Puck Talk CS. The World Cup of Hockey is coming.
Welcome, everybody. Today, we are continuing our preview for the 2017-2018 NHL.
CS episode 121, season 3 premiere.
Won it. Showtime intersects with Broadway. Number 88 is finally a blue shirt. Steve, my man, we did it. Happy 10 years. Let's start with coming up with the idea. I'm sitting in the car with my father. This is now 2015, probably right after the 14-15 President's Trophy season for the New York Rangers. And he mentions the thought of podcasting, and this is in a time where we're listening to the radio, right? There's no phones hooked into cars at that time, and we kind of tossed it back and forth, and it seemed like, oh, that'd be a cool idea, but I'm an 8th grader, like I'm not even a high school kid, like with an identity, really. And I kick it to you. So, I mean, what were you thinking immediately when I don't know if it was a text or a call or what?
It was a call, and I was at my brother's baseball game, and this was in 2015, so that means we were 14. I was 14, you were 13, and my brother was 9, so he was playing baseball, and I think that is the age where you just graduate from the father's pitching, so things weren't too interesting in the game, and I remember you called me up, and I'm glad I answered it, and see, look, otherwise, who knows where we'd be. And I remember you pitched the idea to me, like right off the bat. It wasn't like, hey Steve, what's up? You pitched the idea to me, and my answer immediately was yes. Like, this is something we have to do. Yeah, let's backtrack for a moment too, Steve-O. We became friends because our lockers were next to each other in middle school. Yep. Lockers, like this is something that, now they don't exist. They're there, but they're not used. Do you know how we met? The first time we met?
Tell me.
I think it was 2nd grade, and you walked me to the nurse's office.
I had a bad stomach virus.
I think it was, no, I had.
But you did. But I had a stomach virus that winter, and I was very squeamish of it. So the Miss Alderton has me bring down the backpack, and I was like nervous as hell because I'm like, what if I get sick? Yeah.
Who knew we'd be here, sitting here, and everything we accomplished, just walking down to the nurse's office those days.
I know. It's crazy. It's crazy to think about how it evolved. But then it's freshman year of high school. It's 2015-16.
Yep.
So a friend of mine, a family friend, Jim Gersey, shout out, he's the man. He had a WordPress credentials to purchase a website. So we purchased the site, and I remember the first foray into podcasting. This is a time, I mentioned radio, but there's no platforms. So we're doing this, and we have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah.
All we have is the ESPN Michael K show to base this off of, and little did we know how much of a world it is.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think a lot of people don't realize back in 2014, the only post-game analysis we got was on the MSG broadcasts. There was no podcast. There was really just out there. Spotify wasn't really a big thing, and especially for sports and hockey and New York Rangers as well. And I think, we had that passion. This is something we talked about every single day, walking home. And I think this is something when we sit there and we look back at it, you're right. It's great. We want to do a podcast. It's a great idea. But now we got to figure out, on a technical standpoint, we got to do a website. We got to do all this other stuff. And again, you were 13, I was 14, and just figuring that out. That seemed like such a monumental ask, right?
Yeah, I think we just had passion, like you said. I come from a family where my grandfather, his first date with my grandmother, that may they rest in peace, was the original MSG, Andy Bathgate.
Awesome.
It goes that far back, and for you, I know, you have a special connection with your father with that.
Yes, we sat there and watched every single game, every single night, going back as far as I can remember, and I think that's the passion along with those walks. I remember sitting in science class, 8th grade, screw the labs we were working on, we were sitting there and talking some hockey, so again, it's just that burning passion, but again, we agreed to do it, It was like, where do we start? You know, it's setting everything up. And I think seeing like how we made it work, I think that is like one of the greatest accomplishments of my entire lifetime. Like, right?
I undoubtedly agree with you. We launched the website with WordPress.
Yep.
And it's doing fine. We're sharing it with family and friends, and it's fun. It's like this side project. We'd come home every day after school and we'd record. Like, this was a time too, we were coming and doing it every day.
Yep.
Even though I was like part of like the hockey team at school and things, like there was always time to do it. And we loved it. We got better with it. We got comfort. And although we were kids, like it started to catch traction around that John Scott All-Star game
2016, 2017 year.
Yeah.
I remember that. We would come home and we originally had the Mike's Minute Recap. Remember that?
Yeah.
If people don't remember that, that was 2 minutes of Mike just recapping everything that goes on. And we would upload that to the WordPress first before doing the episode. And it was just like, we had the WordPress algorithm. Like the views would flood through that. And I think just being like, if we could go back and see like 16-year-old, 17-year-old us like sitting there and uploading and looking at the views, like, man, I think we need to whip out the tissues.
This isn't people too like seeing a clip online like on X and being interested like in that self-promotion, self-advertising. This is people typing into their computer Puck Talk CS.
Yes.
And what the biggest day for us was the 2016 trade deadline. Our first year we did it February 9th, 2016. You had this thought that like one player might go to a team, and that was like the headline of the episode, and it had 3,000 views. And that was, from that point on, we were gaining 3,000 people a day on a website. So I think that's crazy. Like the early success that we had as kids, it's fun to reminisce about, and just like, I don't know if we've ever really told that story before.
No, we didn't. And we didn't have a team. Like, you look at podcasts nowadays, they have producers and editors. This was just you and me. It was two kids, two hometown kids, literally walking home after school, coming in and immediately popping on the mic and just ranting about hockey. And I think just all the work that we've done at that age too, who starts a podcast at 14 years old, let alone still has it 10 years later. I think, again, it's an amazing accomplishment, dog.
Now, we stopped for a moment. We created we got into the film foray. We had great film teacher in high school. Shout out Sharmy. We met a lot of people like Andre, who's helping us film this today, through that. But with SAP, our little movie series, and then we did like a feature film sequel, we stopped. And it was weird. It wasn't like a decline. Our relationship was as strong as ever. Like as seniors in high school, we were the peak you could be as kids and, living life. But it was weird to like tail off. And at that point I went to Quinnipiac. You were here, you were going to school, but here at home, it was like, what's next?
Exactly, and I think everybody knows this when you transition from high school and you go on to college. Like, it's just such a weird phase of your lifetime where like everything's changing around you. And I think we started that phase because we were doing a full feature-length movie. We wrote the script, we did everything, just like how we did everything in the podcast. We did everything in that movie, and we made 2 movies, a miniseries and a movie. So just again, we were hungry for that passion. And again, it was you went to Quinnipiac. I was still here. I went to college, and I was a workaholic. I worked at Marshall's every single day. But at the end of the day, we still found a way to circle back to it and come back to what we love doing.
Yeah, the rebrand that's what we've called it. Like, that era was pretty special. I think what happened was, like, part of this too is that the Rangers kind of drove a lot of it. We talked about the NHL. We got into other things too, but like the Rangers really are the passion. They're the focal point. And when they started their rebuild and when they were kind of coming out of that summer 2019, it was hard to deny the excitement. And especially at the start of the 21-22 season, we're juniors in college.
Yep.
And I started doing some stuff at school in sports media. Now it helped guide me there too. But out of COVID, Zoom is created. And before that, the only way you could talk to anybody without recording it was Skype. There was no way as a freshman in school to even start Puck Talk again. It was like we're at a distance, and that's what it was. We still had the site and everything, but it was more just to have, just in case we ever picked it up again. So it's crazy that out of the pandemic, we're locked down, we come out of that, and with the help of Zoom, we start this back up, and that kind of gave us the idea, like, when I go back to school, we can still do this. So in the winter of 21, I guess, into 22, we come back, and it was about a good year or two where we weren't doing anything.
Yeah, and it was so refreshing to come back. And I think, again, that passion was there. This is not something where it's like, you know, I have 2 classes today, and it's like, and I gotta do Puck Talk. No, you know, this was something where you had 3 classes and work lined up. I had classes and had to go close the store at Marshall's. But this was passion. Like, we loved doing this, and just seeing how that transition to Zoom, you know, and we were able to facilitate it and make that work. It just shows you, it's just another example of all the challenges that we were able to conquer in order to get to this moment in 10 years of Puck Talk CS. And I'm so proud of that, right?
Beyond proud. And I'm proud of, like, we recognize going into 21, 22, that maturity is a big part of this. Like, it's now quickly, podcasts became a different world. Like, from when we had our website, we had people coming to our website. It was a different medium. Now, there was starting to have some platforms. You could use Anchor to get on all the Spotify, Apple Music. On top of that, social media use was big. You were starting to see that was the start of promoting podcasts. It was like 2021. People feeling more comfortable doing that, and it's really evolved since then. But at that time, you and I recognized, like, when we did this as kids, we had early success with it. But how can we continue that as now we're kind of exiting college? And part of that too, finding that extra, success when we rebranded. What was that? January 10th was the first episode back.
Yes.
We had a new website, YouTube, the whole bit. We're on every podcast platform. We started to get some guests, but I think part of it was just like having our head in the right spot, that like we're returning, but we're going to do it right.
We're going to do it right, and since we're so passionate about it, we wanted to return to what was at the core of that, and we really wanted to hit an audience that could really relate to what we're saying, because we covered the NHL. We also, for certain points, remember we talked a little baseball, we talked a little football, we mixed it up over the years.
Yeah.
But I think 2022, we knew, and part of it, like you said, was the New York Rangers. This was such a different phase and a different team that we were used to seeing in our lifetime. We really wanted to focus this in and really hit the younger me and yous out there that are listening to us. I think that was very integral in making that decision. And it worked.
Oh, it worked. And something, going way back to in 21, 22 was I started, like I said, I went to Quinnipiac to cover hockey, to learn sports media, the world, communications and film and everything in that field. And that was on the back of Puck Talk as the podcast, right, from high school, on the back of those video classes and making all the stuff we made together. And it was the perfect timing. COVID didn't allow me, it cut off my freshman year in March, and then we weren't able to do virtually anything that sophomore year, which was 2021. 2021, 22, we rebrand. I start covering the team at school. The next year I'm covering the team at school. Quinnipiac wins the national championship. So like, perfect timing for that to launch my career, broadcast that game. Like, that was my first real professional experience, and truly amazing. But from there, I started at the Hockey News. Then the next fall, I'm meeting all the reporters. We're having them on the show, covering the team, having like inside access. It's crazy to see that started from that simple idea way back. And I've actually been asked before, like, you're with Steve-O, would you ever, like, once you move up in the ranks, like, where is that going? And I have no problem saying, like, Steve and I have this connection. Like, that is unwavering. We've been through challenges, we've been through adversity. It's never gonna end. Like, to me, no matter what, it's funny, because when I've been asked that, I've never wavered. And this is why, like, we're here 10 years later from 15 years old. Now we're, adults. And it's really cool to see not only how far we've come together, but kind of where it's led us to. You're still in school. And to say that, like you said, talking about the Rangers instead of school, and now like you're still cooking, going to school now, pursuing another degree. So it's crazy to see where we've come to from all this time.
Yeah, there is nobody in the world that I'd rather be doing this than you. And I think looking at, if you go back and you see younger me and younger you, 13, 14 years old, and you showed us like us now, 10 years later, we would be like nerding out. Like we would be literally geeking out. Like that's how cool, and we never imagined any of this being possible. Our biggest problems back then was literally like just how do we edit this video, and now we've come such a long way. We've gone on so many different platforms, we had so many different guests. Like that to me is such a big accomplishment. And again, like we broke it down in this like timeline, like of all the different challenges we've had, from going from COVID to rebranding to coming back, like all that kind of stuff together, I think was really solidified our working bond. And I think, again, there really is nobody I'd rather be doing this. I am so proud of everything that we've been through.
I am too, man. Listen, it's been a good 10-year run. We got the new logo, which hopefully, that'll look nice on everything. And no one I'd rather be doing this with either. It means the world to have done this for 10 years, to share it with the people that have followed along from the first website to the rebrand, us together, doing this no matter what, and finding a way through everything that's come our way. Not only that, but then seeing where it's going. I think in the world of podcasts now, so many famous people have shows, they have producers and everything. We're still the two-man band, and we've taken this to new heights where we've really established ourselves in the best community in the world, New York sports.
Yeah, it's still a two-man show, like you said. Like those 2015 days of me and you going through it, it's still 10 years later, we're still doing the same thing, and that's what I'm most happy about. And I think when I look back at my entire lifetime, Puck Talk CS, doing it with you, is one of the greatest accomplishments that I could sit here without a doubt and say, and I really do mean that. And I think when we in 2015, if you said we've been doing this for 10 years, I think neither of us would agree. And I say we've done it for 10 years. Why can't we do it for 10 more? So cheers to the future, my dude.
Cheers to that, Steve-O.